Today's talk is going to be about inflation. I'm going to try and help unpack this insane amount of prices we are paying at the gas pump. Inflation, is it BS or not? My name is Winston Hardner. Welcome to the show. Today, I'm going to give you my POV, that is, my point of view on what is the cause of all of this inflation. The narrative from the media seems to suggest that all of this inflation is typically a result of the war in Ukraine and good old Vladimir Putin, which has some merit, but if you take a look back through history, particularly the Weimar Republic in Germany, you will understand that the inflation has a lot more to do with the printing or expansion of the money supply in whichever country you are in. You can look up the statistics from the Fred website for the expansion of the M2 money supply. I'll get Derek to pull this up and show you. Righto, Derek, pull it up. If you take a look at how the wealthy and elite have been spending their money in the last, say, 10 years, you would notice that it is in the stock market or through certain asset classes like equities, commodities perhaps, but more in real estate. And when you see wealthy people moving their wealth towards hard assets, you know it's got something to do with the diminishing purchasing power of the currency at hand, whether it be the US dollar or the Australian dollar or the euro or Japanese yen. Whichever you choose, they are all fiat currencies and they go to zero eventually. There are three kinds of inflation. We have supply chain issues, we also have government fiscal policy, and then central bank monetary policy. Inflation appears to be a supply chain issue. Now, that is correct to a certain extent. However, inflation is a monetary phenomenon. That's right. The thing about inflation is it has already happened. What we are experiencing is, of course, the consequence of inflation. When the government issued bonds, they were purchased by the central banks, and as a result, the money the government received for the bonds was spent on the stimulus packages through the yes, that thing, the money supply, has been expanded out of thin air from the government issuing bonds which were purchased by the central banks at a low interest rate. The printer go brrrr. Is inflation BS? I say, no, it's a real thing, but the government's answer to inflation is bullshit. Absolutely absurd. They think that issuing more bonds and printing more money is going to help with the cost of living. We need a reversal in the way things work, and that is a deflationary event, like a crash in the stock market, which will probably happen, and a crash in the housing market, which will probably happen, and once the demand drops off, you will see when unemployment starts to rise because corporations can't pay the wages and people aren't earning the wages to pay for the goods because the cost is too high because of the inflation, then we will have our recession. It's coming. I'm pretty sure of it. Well, folks, all I have to say is yes, inflation is a real thing. It's not BS. And the government's got us here through their silly fiscal policies, tied in with the banks, the central banks that is, and their silly monetary policies. Anyway, good day, cheerio. You will see me again in the next episode.